Welcome to Nihilakh Paints, and in this video I'll be showing you how I make old battlefield bases. Let's crack in. Alright, now we need to get some parts to represent the battlefield debris, so go through your bits box, grab anything out you like, just dry fit them without gluing, and then once you're happy, glue them on the base. For the bigger base I wanted to have a piece of old broken fence, so I've just got a dollar store colander here. I've cut out a piece of wire. Just be careful when you cut this, it does get quite pointy and sharp. To represent the poles, I just use toothpicks, wrap it around to get the rough shape, and then super glue these on. Give the base some volume and texture. I've got some Tamiya diorama texture paint, and this is a soil effect. This is a pre-painted sand. It comes with a little spatula here, so you just move this texture paint around on the base into whatever shape or design you like. I like to roughly position it into place and then later come in with a toothpick just to fix up any edges. If you want to use PVA glue and just sand, that'll be fine too. While the Tamiya texture paint is still wet, I'm just going to grab the vents I made earlier and push that down through the texture paint to the base. Because this is a bigger piece, while you're gaming, moving around, you don't want it to break off, so a bit of super glue in these holes, it'll contact nicely to the base, and also the texture paint will dry around it. Any smaller pieces you won't need to do this to, the texture paint with a bit of super glue will hold them in nicely. Any extra pieces of debris you might have put in, just use your spatula or any other tool you have and just work the texture paint around those just to make them look a bit more natural with them being embedded into the soil. Once you've done that, undercoat all your bases. Once the texture paint is dry and you've undercoated the base, I've used a Mournfang brown from Citadel mixed with a little water just to help it run into any cracks and crevices of the base. For this step, do not use a new brush, use an older brush you might have lying around, as it's very rough and will tear up any brush you use. Place this down on any part that you want it to be brown, trying to avoid the debris, but if you do get it on the debris, don't worry, we can fix it up later. And then once that's done, this is what your bases will look like. Alright, now it's time to paint the debris. So I've used lead belcher from Citadel, mixed with a tiny little bit of water, and just paint in all the debris on the bases, trying to avoid the brown as much as possible, but if you do happen to get it on the brown, you can always come back with the Mournfang. It's no big deal. Once the lead belcher is all dry, I've used a Nuln oil from Citadel, and this is straight from the pot. I'm just going to run this over all the silver parts of the base. Pooling doesn't really matter, we'll fix that up later, and also don't worry if you get on the Mournfang brown, you can always come back over with the next wash to fix those up. Once that's dry, I'm going to take a Agrax Earthshade from Citadel, and again straight from the pot, run that over the entire base. Okay, once your washes are 100% dry, the next step we'll take XF85 rubber black from Tamiya. Now, this is a good color to represent like oil stains, burn marks. We're just placing that randomly on the metallic parts. In this particular instance I've watered it down a little bit just to vary up the texture of the paint. Okay, now I'm going to use some pigments using the Tamiya Weathering Master kits. This is kit C and D. The first color here is the oil stain. These kits come with a little like makeup brush, so it's really easy to apply the pigment. These pigments are quite sticky. So again, swapping the color here to a gunmetal and just rubbing it over. This is personal choice, so if you want to go lighter, darker, you can change the colors if you like. And this one is orange rust. I love orange rust, it's my favorite of the 6 colors. It really brightens up any metal and gives it that real old and rusty effect. Okay, once you've got your weathering down, now I'm going to use the technical paint from Citadel, the Nihilakh oxide. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And with this, I haven't sealed the pigment because I like the oxide to blend with the pigment in certain spots to give it more of a random effect with my rust. So here you can see it's sort of becoming like an orangey colour. This is personal choice again. If you'd like, you can seal the pigment before you apply the oxide technical paint. Okay, here I've got 4 pigments. They're medium rust, army green, Russian earth, and dark earth. So the first pigment I put down is the medium rust, and this goes on only the metallic parts of the model. Just want to rust those up a little bit more. So again, put it where you like it and how much of it you like, and just maneuvering it around with the brush here. Once that's down, I'll put down the browns. I usually start with the darker brown first, and then I'll come over the top with a lighter brown. Again, put as much or as little as you like. I tend to vary up between bases, so one base might have a lot of pigment, a lot of brown, the next not so much, or just more green. Again, it's up to you. And you don't have to use these particular colours, you can change these colours if you'd like. Once you've done that, I've sealed it with a matte varnish from Mr. Hobby, and then paint the rims black. And once they're painted, this is what you'll be left with. Here's my selection for decorating the base. Just go with whatever you like. I can't really suggest what company is the best, it all seems the same to me. So with this tuft, I've dry fitted it first, and once I was happy, I like to super glue them into place, because after time I find they'll just fall off using the little adhesive bottoms. And then to make my little shrubs and bushes, I'll just drill into the texture paint, and then with a toothpick just place some PVA glue into that hole before I place the bush. Okay, once I'm happy with that, I'll put the little bush into place, and then to get it to stay there, I'll push it in lightly using the toothpick. Okay, to build up the bushes, I just use a toothpick with some PVA glue, put some dollops on the end of the bushes. You don't want to do the whole bush at once, otherwise the weight of the PVA glue will make it sag and droop. So you want to do half at a time. And with some tweezers, just use these little clumps of foliage and just place them down randomly where you like them. Choice of colour is up to you. So for this bush I've gone for a darker green with clumps of yellows and lighter green in it, but the next one I might mix up and go for lighter green. And then once you've done this half and it dries, go back and do the other half of the bush. Okay, now to put some leaves on the base. These leaves are from Green Stuff World. These are the spring leaves, and to apply the leaves I put down some dollops of PVA glue using the toothpick. This is randomly around the base where I think leaves might gather, or where I just want to break up a bit of the brown or the colour. Some bases I go really crazy and put lots of leaves, others I might only put a couple. Just depends what mood I'm in or what look I'm going for on a particular day. So to apply the leaves, I just use some tweezers and just push these down. They're quite firm little leaves, so you might have to use a bit of force just to push them into crevices and cracks. Once I'm happy where the leaves are down, I usually let it dry, but for this tutorial I didn't have a lot of time, so I'll paint it here with Agrax Earthshade, just to break up a bit of the colour and not be all just the one green. And the final touch to the base is just putting a little bit of PVA glue onto this fencing, and using this like a flock vine sort of material, I'm just wrapping it around the fence, just to look like it's creeping around the fence, and that's it. Once this dries, the bases are ready to be mounted with the model. And here are the final bases. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. It was fun making it. If there's anything you'd like to see in the future, please leave me a comment in the comment section below. I'm happy to hear any feedback to help improve the channel or what tutorials to do next. And thank you for watching Nafy Paints. I'll see you in the next video. Catch ya!